Welcome everybody. In this video I want to discuss with you the Great Awakening that so many have spoken about in the last 20 years. This is certainly a time to be awake and aware of what's around us, but the Great Awakening is not happening outside of us. It's going to happen within us. This is not some airy-fairy new age rubbish. This is what will happen. The more you tune out of what is out there and tune into yourself, the more that reality will dissolve. I'm not saying it won't challenge you and you have to deal with situations, but you have to be mentally and spiritually prepared for our future. I'm not driving fear, but unless someone has a miracle, there ain't nothing that's going to remove us from what's ahead. Many times I have mentioned the levels to this current situation, and even people who are now aware do not know how deep this actually goes, including the alternative media, who also drives fear, not knowing the outcomes themselves. It is devastating to what's happening around us for so many reasons, but it's always been an individual choice. It's for us to let go and accept and allow it to unfold the way it has to. We have to look over it so our time and energy is directed in the right places. Birth, life and death are all part of the cycle. It's part of our soul's contract. So we may as well be at ease with it. So I want to share a story about the lead up to 212. It's a story about how fear drives us unknowingly, and when we are conscious, we can use fear to empower ourselves. It was an interesting time in early 2000s as you had the Mayan prophecies floating around post 9/11. And way before the fear-driven Hollywood film on 212, many people were speaking about the convergence at festivals and talks around the country. The key date was the 21st of December 212. It was the end of the Mayan 26,000 year cycle. Nibiru, the 12th planet, was passing, and many argue to the exact time of that transition, but it was meant to create a pole shift on our planet, creating earthquakes, tidal waves and natural disasters. I became obsessed with the subject and created the film The Longest Night, which you can see on my channel. From researching the subject, I came across part of the Mayan Hopi scripture that spoke of the 3 days of darkness, which is also mentioned in the Bible. Check out the film. It's a time of complete shutdown. The power grids would go down, seems to parallel with all this talk now of dark winter. There was so much fear around this day as we saw this demonstrated in the Hollywood version, and with all the information around it, me myself believe that to some level we were going to go into some catastrophic event. I even remember how I kind of stopped thinking money was an issue and became a little bit more careless, believing the monetary system would collapse. I became a little too absorbed in this information. It led me to joining a commune with like-minded people, where me and my partner attended some meetings with a group where the leader actually truly believed that this was going to be a catastrophe. And we were all going to buy land, and there was just all these dramas kind of unfolded. The group broke apart and everyone went back to living the way, living in the world they had to live in before. After the breakup, I had become quite fearful, feeling food supplies would run out, that coastal parts of the world would be flooded. I was getting trapped in a physical reality and becoming insane, believing in this end of the world event. Was it logical? Were NASA lying? I got on with it, and I wasn't waiting around for these meteorites to fall from the sky, but I was watching the internet and all the fear stories that were spoken about planet Nibiru in the build-up. There are apparent sightings of it all over the internet still at this present day. I even pointed the camera at the sun a few times with no luck of seeing anything. The point here is I put a lot of time and energy into rabbit holes that didn't matter. The ironic thing with this story is on the 21st December 2012 was to where I was at this time, and bizarrely I wasn't at Easter Island, a Mayan temple or a stone circle. I was laying a garden patio in North London. Was it the end of the world? Had we entered the 3 days of darkness? Maybe it was, as I shouldn't have been laying cement in winter. But it really turned my view around to how we create this reality. Maybe the stone was a symbol. Maybe I'd laid a sacred patio. Now, I'm not getting mixed with dates, as I know the date was based on the Mayans, and we do have some certain dates in our near future. But my fear brainer drove me to put my time and energy in directions I didn't need to be concerned with. I've noticed how sometimes those of us who are awake can be pulled into rabbit holes and states that we believe are for the greater good. Usually happening at points of major transition, we are drawn to the movement or change. We put a lot of time and thought to something to later find out that we are actually being misled. We let it invade our personal space, lowering our vibrational state, so our energy weakens and our actions are put in the wrong areas. I'm not saying don't be concerned, don't take action. You have to do what's right for you, but understand the law of energy, as in every thought, reaction, emotion, you are dispersing energy and giving whatever you fear the power. Knowing the self will guide you. As much as we are all in this together, we have a multitude of levels to this and individuals within it. Everyone is at different levels of learning, and a lot of beings are here with different objectives and agendas. It is not for you to be concerned by it, but you have to be allowing of others. This is one of the laws of life. With the lead up to 212 and all the insanity and madness, it drew me more towards self-development and healing to understand more about myself. Although I have been on this journey all my life, I could see how I was becoming so attached to this physical reality and the stories within it, attaching to its trauma, which brought me away from myself. I'm not saying don't take action when needed, and yes, stand up for our rights and freedoms, but I'm talking about the constant noise and drama that people undertake, completely unaware that they are participating in a fake reality. Even when they think they are for the cause, they are actually just playing out something from someone, somewhere, even possibly an AI interference, mind control. Who knows? And I don't actually want to know. What I do know is the inner work is vital for shifting the focus, so we don't get barraged by this outside world. We have to know how to deal with the challenges that are set up in this system. We have had a lot of psyops around the New Age movement about what spirituality actually is. I hear some people say, oh, you're spiritual. This is a ridiculous statement because we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. That's a fundamental fact to what we are. Consciousness enters the physical world. This is just a shell, a sort of jumpsuit, I suppose. When it's over, we move on unless we get caught in some sort of trauma at the point of death. I believe when our consciousness enters this world, it knows what we have to do. All we have to do is stay in touch with it throughout however we feel we have to. Whether that's religion, spirituality, or just being a good person, everything you do in your physical life is leaving an imprint on your soul. Whether you believe that or not, you will when you die. So self-development and improving, strengthening our souls is the way to lead us out of this. But that has to be done with truth and with no distortion or filters. I know most of you watching this probably don't watch TV, but this is number one. You have to withdraw from programs. Most do not even realize that they tell you in the word, program me. People openly giving their consent. I am sure many of you can relate, but I haven't owned or watched the TV, mainstream TV, for over 20 years, and my world is very different. When I look at the media world, it is deeply dysfunctional and very dangerous, but people choose to be hypnotized by it. Through the dystopian films, I've explained many ideas, concepts and realities that are floating around us. The reason I put a question at the end is because I feel this summarises the lesson from that reality, or what that subject matter of that particular film is. We are all involved in the creation of this reality, so we don't need to change out there. We need to change us. I see the physical world sometimes like a slowed down dream, a stretched out set of situations usually involving other humans. We have these mini drama battles about things that don't really matter. Then we occupy ourselves within our own egos. Some do this all their lives, completely unaware of who and what they are. Most of what we learn or create in one day from mundane tasks contributes very little to our soul journey. It is only when we dream we reach a euphoric bliss. We lose that state of mind. We feel that inner peace, and we are not even conscious that we are doing. We are just being. Then we awake and we have to deal with the physical, interpreted by the five senses. So how can we feel bliss in a reality that is so chaotic? We change the self. We dig into ourselves and we find what's stopping us becoming who we truly are. When we find who we are, we will create healthy boundaries and life will flow. It will fall into place and the trauma will not affect you in a negative way. The Great Awakening is you. It's about you mastering who you are, overcoming your fear. The world is no doubt going to shift dramatically in the next 10 years, but you're number one, and without you, this world wouldn't be alive. With these videos, I want to give you empowerment for the future. You are the pillow that will catch the fall, so prepare yourself for the world to come, as it's your perspective and viewpoint that will trigger the Great Awakening. Thanks again for watching, and remember, if you liked this video, please subscribe. Many more films coming up and lots more awakening content. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.